Have you ever found yourself watching an adult film and thinking, how is that even possible? It's a reasonable question. We see these performers under the glare of hot studio lights, surrounded by a crew of a dozen people, with cameras capturing every angle, and they maintain seemingly rock-hard erections for what appears to be hours on end. Take after take, scene after scene. But everything we know about male anatomy tells us this shouldn't be possible. For the average guy, stress, pressure, and performance anxiety are the ultimate passion killers. Just the thought of being watched can be enough to end things before they even begin. So, what's the secret? Are these actors just a different breed of human, blessed with superhuman sexual stamina? The truth is far more clinical and far less magical than you might think. It has less to do with willpower or virility, and everything to do with a hidden toolkit of medical interventions and cinematic tricks designed to create a fantasy. And today, we're going to open that toolkit and expose exactly what's inside. The answer isn't just one thing, it's a step-by-step process, and we're going to walk through all of it. To understand how they cheat the system, we first have to understand the system itself. The process of getting an erection is a delicate biological dance, and it all starts in the brain. It begins with a trigger, a sexual thought, a sight, a touch. This stimulus sends a nerve signal down the spinal cord to the blood vessels in the penis. This signal releases a critical chemical messenger, nitric oxide. Think of nitric oxide as the key that unlocks the whole process. It tells the smooth muscles inside the penis, specifically within two sponge-like chambers called the corpora cavernosa, to relax. When they relax, the arteries that feed them open wide, allowing a surge of blood to rush in at high pressure. As these chambers fill and expand, they press against the veins that would normally drain the blood, effectively trapping it inside. The result is a firm, rigid erection. The crucial word here is relax. The entire process depends on a state of relaxed arousal. Now let's introduce the enemy of this process, the sympathetic nervous system, better known as your fight or flight response. When you feel stressed, anxious, or pressured, your body releases adrenaline. Adrenaline is designed for survival. It reroutes blood away from non-essential functions, like digestion and, yes, erections, and sends it to your major muscle groups, preparing you to either fight a threat or run from it. It causes the very same smooth muscles in the penis to contract, shutting down blood flow. A porn set is a factory for adrenaline. It's not a relaxed, intimate environment. It's a workplace. There's a director giving instructions, a camera operator inches away, sound technicians, and the immense pressure of knowing that every minute costs money. This is the performance paradox. The very environment designed to capture peak sexual arousal is physiologically one of the worst places to achieve it naturally. The mind might be willing, but the body's ancient survival wiring is actively fighting against it. So, if the body's natural system is working against them, they have to rely on a system that isn't natural at all. Before we get to the heavy-duty medical interventions, let's peel back the first layer of deception, the magic of cinema. The incredible, hours-long stamina you see on screen is, in many ways, a complete fabrication, cleverly assembled in an editing room. A single 20-minute scene in a film might take a full 8-hour day to shoot. It's not a continuous marathon. The process is broken down into dozens of short, manageable takes. They might film a specific angle for a few minutes, then cut. The director resets the shot, the cameras are moved, lighting is adjusted, and the performers take a break. During these pauses, which can last anywhere from a few minutes to half an hour, the actors have time to rest and prepare for the next take. The final product you watch is a carefully curated highlight reel of only the best moments. The editor's job is to seamlessly stitch together these short bursts of action, making it look like one long, uninterrupted performance. Any moment where an actor loses his erection is simply left on the cutting room floor. You never see the pauses, the resets, or the struggles. You only see the flawless, hypersexualized final cut. Historically, this illusion was sometimes aided by on-set assistants whose sole job was to keep the male talent ready for the next shot between takes. While this practice is less common in the mainstream industry today, its existence highlights a long-standing truth. Maintaining an erection on a film set has always been a challenge that requires external assistance. So, the first secret isn't a pill or a needle, it's an editor. They are the ones who create the illusion of superhuman endurance. But for the moments when the cameras are rolling, even for just a few minutes at a time, cinematic tricks aren't enough. That's where the medical toolkit comes in. So, if movie magic alone can't sustain a performance, the logical next step is medication. When people think of performance-enhancing drugs for the bedroom, their minds immediately go to the famous little pills, sildenafil, which is the active ingredient in Viagra, and tadalafil, the active ingredient in Cialis. And yes, these are absolutely part of the onset toolkit. But their function is widely misunderstood, and in the high-stakes environment of a film set, they are often not enough. These drugs belong to a class called PDE5 inhibitors. To understand what they do, let's go back to our biological dance. After nitric oxide is released to start the erection, an enzyme called PDE5 comes in to break it down, which allows the penis to return to a flaccid state. Think of PDE5 as the cleanup crew that arrives after the party is over. What drugs like sildenafil and tadalafil do is block that cleanup crew. By inhibiting PDE5, they allow the nitric oxide to stick around longer and work more effectively, leading to a harder and more durable erection. But here is the critical distinction, and it's the most important concept to grasp. These pills are facilitators, not inductors. A facilitator makes a process that has already started easier and more efficient. An inductor starts the process from scratch. These pills cannot create an erection out of thin air. They're entirely dependent on the brain sending that initial signal of arousal and releasing nitric oxide. If there is no initial sexual stimulus, no spark to light the fuse, the pill has absolutely nothing to facilitate. It's like having a world-class sound system with no music to play. Now, apply that to a porn set. An actor, feeling immense pressure, might not be able to generate that initial spark of genuine psychological arousal. His adrenaline is high, his body is in fight or flight mode, and his brain simply isn't sending the go signal. In that scenario, he could have taken the highest dose of tadalafil, and it would do absolutely nothing, because there is no nitric oxide for the drug to work on. This is why these pills, while helpful as a base layer of support, are not the industry's fail-safe secret. The job requires a guarantee, something that works 100% of the time, regardless of stress or mental state. It requires a true inductor, a method that can bypass the brain entirely. This brings us to the real secret, the industry's ultimate guarantee for a camera-ready performance: intracavernosal injections. It sounds intense, and it is. This is a method that involves using a tiny, insulin-style needle to inject a potent cocktail of vasodilating drugs directly into the erectile tissue, the corpora cavernosa. This method completely changes the game because, unlike oral pills, these injections are true inductors. They don't need a signal from the brain. They don't need nitric oxide. They don't require any psychological or physical arousal whatsoever. They work by brute chemical force. The drugs are delivered straight to the target, where they command the smooth muscles to relax and force the arteries to open. The result is a powerful, rigid, and purely mechanical erection that typically forms within 5 to 15 minutes and can last for 1 to 2 hours, sometimes longer. For an actor on set, this is the ultimate failsafe. It removes psychology from the equation entirely. He can be stressed, bored, anxious, or completely unaroused, and it doesn't matter. The injection guarantees a predictable and reliable erection, exactly when the director needs it. This is how they achieve the on-demand performance that seems so impossible. So, what exactly is in this potent cocktail? The formulas used are typically compounded by special pharmacies and are known in the industry by two common names: Bimix and Trimix. Bimix, as the name suggests, is a combination of two drugs. First, there's piperine. This is an older medication that acts as a powerful nonspecific vasodilator, meaning it forces the smooth muscles in the blood vessels to relax, dramatically increasing blood flow. Second is phentolamine. This drug is an alpha blocker. Remember how adrenaline causes muscles to contract and kills an erection? Phentolamine works by blocking the receptors that adrenaline uses. It's like putting a safety cover over the off switch, preventing the body's stress response from interfering. Together, these two drugs create a very reliable erection. But for maximum potency, many turn to Trimix. Trimix takes the two drugs in bimix and adds a third, incredibly powerful ingredient, alprostadil. Alprostadil is a synthetic version of a natural hormone called prostaglandin E1, and it is one of the most effective vasodilators known to medicine. It's a first-line treatment prescribed by urologists for men with severe erectile dysfunction. Adding alprostadil to the mix creates a synergistic effect, resulting in an extremely potent and reliable erection, even with a very small dose. However, this extra power comes with a significant catch. Alprostadil is chemically unstable and breaks down quickly at room temperature. This means that Trimix must be kept refrigerated at all times to maintain its effectiveness. For an actor, this is a major inconvenience. They can't just carry it in their bag, they need to transport it in a cooler and have access to a refrigerator on set. Because of this, many performers opt for the slightly less potent but far more convenient bimix. Since it doesn't contain alprostadil, it's stable at room temperature and can be carried discreetly without any special storage. It's the perfect portable solution for a job that can take you to different locations on any given day. With a vial of bimix and a few sterile syringes, an actor has a guaranteed erection on demand, anywhere, anytime, the true, and rather unglamorous, secret behind the fantasy. But this level of on-demand control comes at a steep price, with significant risks that are never shown on camera. The most immediate and dangerous risk of using these injections is a condition called priapism. Priapism is a medical emergency. It's defined as a rigid, often painful erection that lasts for more than 4 hours and does not go away after ejaculation. When blood remains trapped in the penis for that long, it loses oxygen. This oxygen-deprived blood becomes toxic to the delicate erectile tissues, and if it's not resolved quickly, it can cause the tissue to die. This can lead to permanent, irreversible erectile dysfunction, where a man may never be able to achieve a natural erection again. Because this risk is so real, performers who use injections must always be prepared. Many carry an antidote, another injectable drug, typically phenylephrine, which is a vasoconstrictor. It does the exact opposite of the erection-inducing cocktail. It forces the blood vessels to clamp down, allowing the trapped blood to finally escape. If that doesn't work, the only solution is a trip to the emergency room for a procedure to manually drain the blood. Even if priapism is avoided, there's a more insidious, long-term danger associated with frequent use: penile fibrosis. Every time a needle punctures the tissue, it creates a tiny amount of trauma. Over hundreds or even thousands of injections throughout a career, this cumulative trauma can cause hard, inelastic scar tissue to form within the corpora cavernosa. This fibrosis can lead to a loss of penile length, cause painful curvature, and, ironically, make it even harder to get an erection, as the scarred tissue can no longer expand properly with blood. As the fibrosis worsens, the injections become less and less effective, pushing the user towards a point of no return. So, we've just uncovered the intense, risky, and artificial methods used behind the scenes. It's a world of powerful chemicals and extreme measures that are simply not a realistic or desirable path for the average guy. It's enough to make you wonder if there are any options left that don't involve needles or surgery. For those of you watching who might be looking for a completely different approach, something that works with your body's natural systems instead of forcing them, I've come across a fascinating discovery. It's a bizarrely simple, 7-second home method based on groundbreaking science that's designed to address the real root cause of male performance problems 100% naturally. It helps restore powerful, on-demand erections without the risks we've just discussed. If you're interested, you can watch a short, eye-opening video that explains everything. Just point your phone's camera at the QR code on your screen right now. I've also put a direct link to the same video in the pinned comment below. When the scar tissue from years of injections becomes so severe that even the most potent Trimix cocktail no longer works, the journey reaches its final, and most invasive, destination: a penile implant, also known as a penile prosthesis. This is a surgical solution, a point of no return. During the procedure, the natural, spongy erectile tissue inside the corpora cavernosa is permanently removed and replaced with a medical device. For some longtime veterans of the adult film industry, this becomes a career-extending necessity. For men in the general population, it is the ultimate and most effective treatment for severe erectile dysfunction that hasn't responded to any other therapy. There are two main types of implants. The first is the simpler of the two, the semi-rigid or malleable implant. This device consists of two firm, bendable rods that are surgically placed inside the penis. These rods provide constant, permanent rigidity. There is no on or off switch. The penis is always firm enough for intercourse. For concealment, the user simply bends it down against their body, holding it in place with snug underwear. It's a straightforward, reliable, and durable solution, but it lacks the naturalness of becoming truly flaccid. The second, more advanced option is the three-piece inflatable implant. This is the gold standard of penile prosthetics because it most closely mimics a natural erection. It consists of three connected components, all completely concealed inside the body. First, there are two soft, inflatable cylinders, which are placed where the natural erectile tissue used to be. Second, a small, fluid-filled reservoir is placed discreetly in the lower abdomen. And third, a tiny pump is placed inside the scrotum, where it feels just like another testicle. When the user wants an erection, he simply squeezes the pump in his scrotum a few times. This action transfers the sterile saline fluid from the reservoir into the cylinders, which inflate to create a perfectly rigid and natural-feeling erection. When he's finished, he presses a deflation button on the pump, and the fluid returns to the reservoir, allowing the penis to become completely soft and flaccid. This technology provides total control and the highest level of discretion, making it impossible for a partner to tell that a man has an implant just by looking. It is the ultimate fusion of medicine and mechanics to restore sexual function. So, what have we learned? The superhuman sexual endurance we see in pornography is not a product of superior genetics or unshakable confidence. It's a carefully constructed illusion, built on a foundation of cinematic editing, powerful pharmaceuticals, and, in some cases, radical surgical intervention. It's a performance sustained not by passion, but by pharmacology and prosthetics. The journey from a simple pill to an injectable chemical cocktail, and finally to a surgically implanted device, reveals a truth that is far removed from the fantasy presented on screen. And that is the most important takeaway. Comparing your own sexual experiences with all their natural peaks and valleys to this highly produced, medically enhanced fiction is a recipe for anxiety and self-doubt. A real, healthy sexual life involves connection, emotion, and vulnerability, all things that are systematically eliminated on a film set in favor of mechanical reliability. It's completely normal for erections to fluctuate based on mood, stress, and fatigue. That's not a sign of dysfunction. It's a sign of being human. The secret of the porn actor isn't that he's more of a man. It's that he has access to a level of medical intervention that bypasses humanity altogether. By understanding the reality behind the curtain, we can free ourselves from the pressure of chasing an impossible standard and instead focus on what truly matters, a healthy, realistic, and fulfilling sex life. The fantasy is for the screen. The reality is for you.